Welcome back to Park to Prem. I left my YouTube network, so I can't use the music anymore, so here's me just talking over it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Like, comment, subscribe. If anyone wants to write a new theme tune, please. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 170 of Park to Prem here with Town or Town. Today we start on the profile of the one, the only Andrei Shvetsov. I mean, what a player this guy has become for us over the years. And well, to start this season, he's got 8 goals so far, a hat-trick in the Champions League game that we will talk about shortly. And whilst he's not quite matching his goal tally escapades of last season, he's still doing very blooming well at the moment. And well, just on the whole, the squad's playing really well. We've continued to tinker with the system just a little bit. I've settled on the roles that we talked about yesterday. And I don't know, things are looking pretty rosy here at the club. We've been very fortunate when it comes to the league. And well, I guess we'll talk about some of the results, some of the goings on and off the pitch. But yeah, I am feeling pretty good about this year now, which is something that I haven't been able to say this early on in a season, I don't think ever, at least since we've been in the Premier League. So anyway, last episode we took on Chelsea, and following on from that we had what could have been a tricky game against Everton, away from home in this game. Ultimately, 2 goals at either end of the game were the difference makers. Stevie Norman getting his first in the 4th minute, and then in the 91st minute, Mike Frost popping up at the back post. The £300 million man, he's been a little bit quiet to start the year, but it was very, very good to see him get on the score sheet. And while we went away to an international break, we came back for a home game against Norwich, and I decided to play Dylan Bloomin' Turnbull. Where's Turnwell come from? I've forgotten his name, everyone. But no, Dylan, he's back in the limelight. He's back in the team with a new contract. With us playing the free striker system, it's inevitable that this guy is going to get more opportunities. And well, he only went and got a blooming hat-trick. 13th minute goal, 60th minute goal, and then a goal from the penalty spot. He has just done very Turnwell, I suppose, in this game. And to be fair, he's continued to chip in with some goals, and it's already perhaps his most fruitful season in recent memory. I feel bad for Turnbull, a player who's fallen down the pecking order. But with the new system change and with the neglecting, I guess, of having 4 midfielders, going for 3 midfielders and 3 strikers, there are more opportunities for him. And he took some there. Anyway, the next game we had against Red Star was 5-1. I'm not going to show the highlights for this, but our Champions League group, if you were wondering, we're in Group A, which is obviously means that we're the best. We're in a group with Leipzig, Lyon and Red Star. Now, today we are taking on Lyon, of course, a team we're familiar with from our series with them just last year in Football Manager, which, I mean, if you get to the end of this episode and you're sat thinking, man, I want some more WorkTheSpace to listen to, Lyon Live, I can't recommend that series enough. Very different vibe to this series, but basically we did 5 or 6 seasons managing them 100% live, and they're a nice team, but I'm not going to be very nice to them if I can avoid it. But yeah, in this game, Shvetsov got a hat-trick, Red Star were dominated, Holman and Norman also chipping in with goals, and well, Shvetsov ran away with man of the match, unsurprisingly. The next game we had against Sheffield United, a 3-1 win here, more comfortable than the scoreline would indicate. We were actually 3-0 up in this game, and it was 2-0 at the break. Andrei Shvetsov with the first in this game, doing his thing in the 29th minute. Steve Norman added another not long after, and Steve Norman himself in some really good goal-scoring form. Unfortunately, he has picked up a long-term injury, and by long-term, I mean a month long, which in our team means he misses, 8 or 9 games, really, with how our fixtures work. And later on, Shvetsov got one in the 51st minute. They did get a consolation back later. That was disappointing. That upset me a little, but ultimately, we came out victors, and we continued on with our fine start to the year. Maybe a little bit gutting that we couldn't keep a clean sheet in the end. But you can see Stevie Norman here, out with a hamstring strain, unfortunately. Somehow, despite the fact he's had a hamstring strain, he continues to improve. But I mean, my word, what a player this guy is. 4 goals to his name in 6 Premier League starts, a 7.6 rating across those matches. He really has started to shine as a false 9. I know yesterday's thumbnail was kind of Norman equal Messi. I think he might be better than Messi, folks. Saying it now, calling it now. Stevie Norman, you are the man. And, well, he continued he continued to be the man. He wasn't the man, because he got bloody injured in the next game when we took on Watford. 2-0 win, though. 2 goals in the space of a minute. This was a nervy game. Away from home, it was the EFL Cup. Turnbull grabbed one in the 76th minute. Shvetsov just 1 minute later. The 2 strikers rewinding the clock, showing us what they're made of. And while most recently we took on Burnley, their team 17th in the league at the time, Shvetsov scored a penalty almost immediately. Thomas Martin then scored an own goal just a couple of minutes later, and then we just decided to stop trying. So 2-0 it finished, but the main thing is a clean sheet, a win, and well, let's look at the Premier League table, shall we? And I'm going to tell you now, folks, drink it in enjoy it. Look at this. I don't know why it only has our most recent game in our form in the bars. That's weird. But either way, look at this. Teams slipping up left, right and centre. We have only conceded 3 goals. Arsenal have only conceded 3 goals, but they've only scored 7 in 7. It's not ideal for them. Not entertaining football, that's for sure. Chelsea down in 10th. They've been a bit unfortunate, really. They have already played ourselves, Arsenal and Manchester United in their opening 7 games. Whereas for us, whilst we are 7 not out, we have played relatively easier opposition. The kind of teams you would expect us to beat, with perhaps the exception of Chelsea. But yeah, we have beaten Sheffield United, I suppose. But really, you're looking at the likes of Man City, Manchester United and Arsenal as games where we're going to prove ourselves. But right now, we sit 7 points clear of all of them. So, I mean, could this be the unbeaten season? Could it happen? That's what we're going to be going for, I suppose, here. But yes, you can see in terms of upcoming games, we've got the Lyon game today in this episode. We've then got Manchester United and Man City at the end of the month. I think we'll do those as a live com double header, both away from home. So I imagine that we'll just rent out a hotel for the entire week for the squad rather than travelling back and forth. And then you can see going into the next month, a few more Champions League games, but then really, it looks like the month of December is going to be the one where we are truly tested. Manchester City at home, then just either side of Christmas, we've got Liverpool and Arsenal prior, and then just after we've got Manchester United. So yeah, looking at that as the big month. But really, when you look at the next couple of months, with the exception of the Manchester United game, I am going to be putting pressure on us to win as many of these as possible. That is kind of all I can really expect. Anyway, as I mentioned, Norman is out injured. Hauge Martinsen has also got injured. He's out for a few months, unfortunately. He, of course, a homegrown Norwegian centre-back. A very good player, to be honest. As far as fifth-choice centre-backs go, I think he's perfectly serviceable. Hasn't really made too many appearances for us. You can see there's a big group of the youngsters who are yet to make an appearance. With how strong we've been going, I've kind of just wanted to keep things relatively unchanged. And, well, in terms of the team for today's game, this is the team that we are going to be fielding. Now, Shvetsov and Frost in recent games haven't set the world alight. More so Frost, to be fair. He's just not had the goal scoring that you would expect. Only 2 goals to start the year, although he has had 2 assists. So for today's game, we're going to play him as the advance forward in the middle, and then we're going to play Kansina at false 9 and Shvetsov at right forward. We'll see how this works. A bit of a change of configuration. Kansina, of course, coming in for Norman. I actually feel like false 9 is not a bad role at all for Kansina either. Actually, when you look at it, it ticks a lot of the boxes for him. He recently had a little upsurge in his composure as well. He has also just signed a new deal at the club, a 5-year deal, not small wages at all for Kansina. But you know what? I wanted to keep him at the club. He's an incredibly good player. And, well, we've got him for another 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. So that's another one of the big players that I was concerned about locked into a new deal. And suddenly, with the exception of Andre Matasevic and Aurelio, whose contracts expire in 3 years' time, and I guess Markovski's, we actually look like we're in a quite tasty position. Unfortunately, I am going to drop Deacon out of the match squad for today's game. It came up in the comment section, Jack, why is Leskinen not playing? Sadly, folks, I feel like he's just not as good as he once was. In the deep line playmaker position, of course, we've got Kaiser. But then I look at Craig Austin, the new 18-year-old, or 19-year-old, I should say. And whilst, you know, he's a little bit better defensively, I feel like he has ultimately got the beating over Leskinen on the whole. And it's very marginal, to be fair to him. But I just feel like we're very blessed in, you know, the centre mid position, and Craig Austin, as a 19-year-old, just needs regular football. He's already made 2 starts and done very well in them. Yeah, it's sad really. I'm a little bit concerned about how much money Leskinen is on. He is on £210,000 a week, which for a backup is not insignificant. It is worth noting that he is the vice-captain, and I do view him as quite an important part of our team. There is part of me, though, that thinks if the right move came along, I'd be willing to let him go. The difference between the Leskinen situation and the Turnbull situation, firstly, obviously Turnbull's homegrown, but actually, secondly, it's that I look at the centre mid position. I look at the centre mids we have on the bench. We've got Andre on the bench. We've got Chalet on the bench. I've been given Mr. Ben games as well. He made his debut in the Carabao Cup, or the EFL Cup, against Watford. And so with that all in mind, there just really isn't a spot where I can get Leskinen in. I guess a deep line playmaker would be the argument, but obviously, as we've already talked about, we've got Craig Austin there. We've got Alex Boyo as well, who I view as a longer-term solution perhaps to the deep line playmaker position. You know, he's not nearly as comparable to Leskinen, but you can see how they are going to be a similar mould of players. And, well, considering Alex Boyo is 6 years his junior, yeah, I don't want to say Leskinen is an endangered species, but he may slowly but surely be on his way out. Yeah, it feels bad to say, but I mean, you look at Kaiser, just absolutely insane. His vision is up to 19 now. just one of the best playmakers you could really possibly have in the deep line playmaker role. He's nuts. But anyway, let's get into today's game. We are going to be taking on Lyon at home. I love this club. I want to beat them, though. I'm sorry, Lyon. Has to be done. In terms of the team for today's game, no mercy being shown. We are going to play Matasevic at the centre mid position, an advanced playmaker. Not wowed me yet in this position, but I want to continue to give him game time. And I mean, when you look at Matasevic, really, what an absolutely nuts player. If we just compare him with Leskinen, that could be an interesting comparison. Actually, let's have a quick peek. Two players who kind of entered the team at similar points, and for the longest time, this guy was being held out by Jarno Leskinen. Why is Leskinen not showing up? The plot thickens. Right, let's go to Leskinen's profile, ladies and gentlemen. Leskinen, how do you compare with Matasevic? I mean, there you go. That's the difference right there. So all the people who said Matasevic would never be a good centre mid, I give you Exhibit A. Yes, he's not as good defensively, but obviously with the three-man midfield, he doesn't need to be. But anyway, let's get into this. Taking on Lyon. I am nervous. I'm a little bit excited. We'll have to see how things play out here. We are, of course, going to be sticking with the new system, which I continue to experiment with. Still looking at ways that we can get the most out of our players. I am wondering about maybe switching the right forward to a false nine as well. I've really enjoyed watching just the interaction that our team have with the false nine dropping into space. I have the additional player instruction of roams into space as well, and it really works out for us. Worth noting, Jackie Auger is playing for Lyon, everyone. Of course, we sold him to Wolverhampton Wanderers a year and a half ago for 64 million. He was sold by Wolves after their relegation for 36 million. So we're laughing to the bank, and Lyon, I think, have got themselves a bargain. Of course, we're going to hope today that he's going to be a little bit of a covert agent for us, help us out. Also, Bubalow's up front for them, which I really should have talked about that. Should we talk about it now? I know the game started, who cares? So yeah, Jackie Auger, familiar face, you'll remember him. He's left us for 65 million. He's now gone to Lyon for half the price there or thereabouts. Just 1 year later, was relegated with Wolves last season. And of course, they've got Bubalo up front, our man, on loan to them for a second year. Really like this guy. Only 2 years left on his current contract. I need to get him down to a new deal. An incredibly complete forward. I think he has all the makings of a superstar player, and I'm hoping he's going to start to realise that potential at Lyon. I was a little bit disappointed by his loan spell last year. He didn't develop as much as, say, Norman did at Juventus. However, he was quite keen to go back to Lyon, and they wanted him back to be a regular starter. So I mean, who was I to stand in the way, everyone? Who was I to stand in the way? Right, they're bringing the ball forward. Maybe we need to panic. Cesar flies in, misses his tackle, but Morrigan with that huge saving goal. I'm not sure if that was a shot or a cross. Either way, we've dealt with it. But, well, highlight after highlight to start this game. Barry now with it, switching it over to Benito. Bubalo's there. Rolo bringing it forward, and he smashes it wide. We had Lyon in our group last year in the Champions League, and we had a 4-4 against them. In a bizarre twist, Lyon and Bayern Munich may end up becoming our big rivals. We always seem to bump into both teams in Europe. Cesar on a booking scares me a little. We've not been particularly great in terms of creating highlights, but we've had 74% of the ball, so it's difficult to complain too much. Frost with a corner here, whips in. It's headed clear by Leclerc, but only as far as the Kaiser. What can Kevin Kaiser do? Plays it to Frost. Now McCassie whips it in. Shvetsov's there. Oh my God, it's hit the woodwork, but it falls down to Shvetsov. Some shocking defending by Jackie Auger, but we'll thank him. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Continuing on. Towlaw at heart. Lovely ball in here by McCassie, actually. I thought after the initial effort the keeper was going to collect it, but he's down on the floor. Auger touches it, and there's just a complete breakdown in communication. And Shvetsov, he's not going to show you any mercy, even from a yard out. He's going to sneak in there, prod it home, and we're a goal up. And to be fair, when you look at these stats, we probably deserve to be. We've played very well in this half. I'm going to tell the players, though, they've not played very well because I'm just a nasty person. But we've got a couple of players on bookings, which I suppose we need to be wary of. I may even look to make some changes there. You can see Bubalo has been hauled off the pitch for Esposito. He must be one of the few real players left in this save game at this point. A player who starts incredibly young at the start of the game. Of course, 18 years in. We are starting to enter that world where even the 16-year-olds are 34. Not 34, I can't do maths. 32. No, 34. No. 34? 18? Jack, you can do this. 16 plus 8. 34. I was right. Why am I questioning myself? This is what happens when you record episodes in the morning. You forget how to add and subtract. It's a bit embarrassing when you're the son of an accountant and you can't add 18 to a number. Anyway, Vincent, give us something to be distracted by. He whips in, Shvetsov's there and heads over though. And you know what? 55 minutes gone. I think I've seen enough. Let's make some changes here. Mateusz Radio just scares me on bookings. Unfortunately, I've just realised because I brought in Markowski, I now actually don't have a right wing back. Craig Austin is the option there, but unless I absolutely have to play in there, I'm going to avoid it. Let's take on Matovic. I'm going to bring in Ben, the Dragon, for his debut. And Frost has been a bit quiet at advance forward. So Dylan Turnbull, come on down, my friend. Bit of old, a bit of new with our two subs. We'll have to see how the two perform. As they've got a chance here with a player called Mustafa. That's a name that I've had in with a regen once upon a time. Gibraltar Apex fans will know what I'm talking about. Oh no, Rolo, don't do this to me. Don't do that, Vincent. Nice read. Vincent again with it here. Back to McCassie. Launches it forward. Turnbull takes it down. Options to his left. Cancina. Can the Argentine score? What a save by Garcia and net for Leon. 2 clear-cut chances. 3 half chances. Over 70% of the ball. We have ripped them to shreds in this game. And we just can't find the breakthrough. And even with Dylan Turnbull at the near post, we still can't find it. They are looking a bit tired, which could be interesting as this game goes on. You would have to say we have been the better team in this game. We absolutely deserve the result as it stands right now. But for as long as this remains a 1-goal game, I will remain nervous. I will remain on edge, especially if Mateusz Aurelio gives the ball away like that. Benito now with the ball in this wide area. Can we stop him getting it across? We can. And now it's with Cancina, and our front three are charging forward. Shvetsov with it. Can he finish it? Smashes it. Garcia tips it wide of the post. I mean, we are trying our utmost here. We're trying our utmost. Kaiser whips it in. Thompson headers it out. McCassie, though, can we keep the chance alive, or is this the pointless highlight? Well, we've had that answered for us. I mean, you can't accuse this of being a game with a lack of highlights as the ball is given to Mateusz Aurelio. Threads it through to Shvetsov. Turnbull square, goes on his lonesome. Garcia holds on to it. How have we only scored 1? How have we only... There's been so many highlights in this game. Cancina, what can you do? Vincent. Inside to Kaiser. Playing that deep line playmaker role. Gives it to Ben. Look at that pass by Ben. Whips it in. Turnbull's there and he headers just wide. Oh my, these stats are a bit silly, aren't they, at the bottom? We've bullied them. Can we get the goal, please, lads? Kaiser, it's your moment. Turnbull's there, headed away. McCassie, go back wide, please. Puts it in himself. Holman's there, nodded down. Cancina on his right foot, smashes it home. For his 4th for the year, and a bit of an Argentine connection there. Claudio Holman nodding it down to his, well, national team partner. And after the initial kind of corner wasn't dealt with, I thought McCassie was going to pass it wide, but he decided, nah, I want to pass the ball. I've got that range. Holman wins a 50-50. It falls to Cancina fortuitously. He tucks it away 2-0, and I think with that, we can probably afford to relax a little bit. We have deserved this result and more. I feel like the scoreline flatters Leon, which might seem mad to say when it's 2-0, but they've just not been very good, everyone. Let's be honest. They've just not been great. Turnbull to Shvetsov. The front three running rampant now. Cancina on this left-hand side. Can he pull it across, or is he going to go on his own? He tries to go on his own. Why did he not square it? Why did he not square it, folks? I mean, I'll tell you what, it's Football Manager. Got one last sub to our name. You know what? Let's bring in Craig Austin, and we'll bring him in for Cesar, who's on a booking. Let's just give the 19-year-old a little run out to end the game here. But 2-0 it's going to finish. Will you see a much more dominant Champions League game than that? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Leon just didn't ever look like scoring. What an incredible team performance. Cancina picking up man of the match. And, well, you'd have to say that is probably the least that we deserve. We are in really, really good form now. Bubalo, I mean, he got subbed off at half-time. He's not done very well there, has he? I did have a little achievement pop up in the bottom right corner called Top Form, which I believe may be 20 games unbeaten in all competitions. Let's have a look. Yes. Oh, 30 games unbeaten. We've not lost since January 26th. You know what that is? That's because we drew against Bayern Munich twice in the Champions League, so we technically never lost to them. And then we lost on penalties, which again, technically isn't a loss, because Football Manager logic. So the last defeat we had was at Man City. Is that right? Man City? Yeah, man, that's mad, isn't it? That is mad when you think, I didn't even realise we've been going that long. 30 games unbeaten in the eyes of Football Manager. I'll let you decide whether or not going out on penalties should count as a defeat, or on away goals should count as a defeat. I mean, I suppose technically you've not lost in 90 minutes, have you? But either way, that's a pretty good achievement. I didn't even realise that was a thing. It's kind of gone under the radar. You know, we've drawn a decent amount. Although, to be fair, so far this year we are on fine winning form. With performances like that one you've just seen against Lyon, I feel like it bodes pretty well for us going forward. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to have a live com doubleheader. It's going to be the two Manchester games, Manchester United and Manchester City in the EFL Cup. Hope to see you guys for that one there. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do drop a like on it. Apologies if today's video goes up a little bit later than usual, and obviously for previous episodes which have missed my normal midday deadline. I've actually had loads of internet problems at the moment. I've got engineers who are meant to be coming around in the next few days to fix it, but at this moment in time my upload speed is capped. And it has caused some havoc with my uploading schedule and stuff. So I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. But anyway, folks, that is all from me today. See you again soon. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out. I can't use the outro music either. Please like, comment, subscribe, or do neither. You can support me on Patreon. It's really appreciated. I don't know what rhymes are appreciated. Let's end this here.